Morning Trainiacs, welcome to this week's endurance adventure, which is unfortunately really TBD. As usual, there are some parts of the video that if you want to skip towards, go check out the description below where they're all listed. Lighting in here without the lighting on is actually quite nice. This is almost angelic. So why this week in training is a little bit TBD is last week, I told you about this, I ended up getting a surgery, little lipoma removed right there. You see that? Good look, right? And to do that, the surgeon had to actually unexpectedly cut through muscle and nerve. So I'm a little bit more swollen than expected. So yoga today, tomorrow, I don't know. Which is really a shame because I was just getting into some solid FTP building workouts, like doing, what was it? It was like 315 watts for a minute times 8, 3 times through that. It's getting nasty.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another yoga workout with me, Helen, and today is going to be a slow flowing practice.
Whew, that feels better. Let's get some lights on in here. So I get a lot of people that ask like how to come back from an injury or an illness. There's not really any secret sauce to it. Basically, it's like do what you can every single day. Don't do something that actually hurts the area. It's okay if it just loosens up and like hurts a little bit over the first 5 minutes, but if it continues to hurt even after it's loose, that's not something that's going to do well for an area, or if you're sick. It's got to feel good after that loosen up period. And then start with low impact stuff like yoga, or in a lot of times it's a really easy swim. In this case, because I can't get this thing wet, I am going to go and try to do an easy bike tomorrow. And that's going to be the extent of it. Or in a lot of cases like this past weekend, I was just walking around the block because that's all I could do. In the same way that you started building up how much you rode and ran and swam when you first got into triathlon, that's what we got to do when we come back to it after injury. Also, now check these out. These are stickers from Kevin and Lauren, who do the Instagram page Our Triathlon Journey, and they are Team Trainiac athletes that share how they are going as they're getting into triathlon. So they get prime time placement right here on the sticker wall. It's really sparse right now. Shoulder is feeling not too bad. Probably around a 1 out of 10 kind of pain, which I am totally cool with. Like, I got my shoulder hacked into, so I'm not expecting to have full mobility just 5 days later. But as long as it doesn't hurt tomorrow and it doesn't get to a 3, 4, 5 out of 10 pain scale, that's okay. I'm cool with that. So this whole area here is like acres and acres of active area, basically going from there all the way to the end of the park there. A run would probably take about 20 minutes. Bike would be maybe 10 on a fat bike here. And this is about 20 minutes from my house. There's a lot of really good hills here. The joke in Winnipeg is that you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. This is an old, I think it was a limestone quarry. And they pushed everything up into a bunch of bike trails all around here. So some hashtag real talk here. Since last year I've really tried to be like positive in this as much as I could, but I realized that I was wrong before when I said that I don't actually enjoy racing. I enjoy the training. Really, I enjoy the training because it's a process of getting better in the spirit of getting to a race, getting to a goal. And the goal is like the victory lap. And I love that it's like work hard, make progress, and then take a victory lap at the end. And with races having gone away, I really struggled this past year. And then add in that I had the varicose vein removed, that I now had this back thing removed, that I had an ear thing removed. that I had a major rib injury. I've got a stomach infection that I put on weight in addition to that, and it's been tough mentally. I hear a lot of people out there are in the same boat this past year. Don't know what would be causing that.
Come on, Grace, we gotta go. Gotta make you better.
There you go.
Graycie. For those of you who don't know, this is Graycie because she's gray. She's a charcoal lab. She's daddy's girl. She loves me. And she's sick. For the first time in her life, as a, I think, 8-year-old dog, she didn't want to eat. And she yelped when I touched her face. I think she got a bad tooth. Alright, come on. We have to go on a daddy and a daughter adventure.
So we drop her off and wait because of COVID. Graycie is probably my 20th dog. I've always grown up with dogs. You want to be best friends with me, talk about dogs, like dogs, have a dog, be a dog. But Graycie was Kim's, my wife, NTK's very first dog. So when we were getting her, she's a charcoal lab, which is like an albino black lab, easiest way to explain it. Drive 13 hours to pick her up, custom, be on a 6-month waiting list kind of dog. And then 2 years later, we get Petey, the garbage can dog, who's a mutt, who cost us $200. And who does Kim like better? The garbage can dog. So apparently she's got bad infection in her face that they're not exactly sure what it is, but she fooled them and they think she's quite lovely despite the fact that she eats poo and rocks, but she's okay. So, love you. More in Trainiacs, it's Thursday. Good news, Gracie's doing really well. See, here she comes. Tick, 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 tick. Just about to do our weekly Zwift ride. That's open to all, 9 a.m. Central Time on Thursdays is when we do it. And yeah, you should come join. I ended up getting a package here from Base Performance because we're working with them on a new Team Trainiac kit for our ambassador program. Here, I'll show you. So this is the rough draft of the MōTTIV kit. This is done on a Louis Garneau template. We're probably going to change that. And I think what we'll do is in the end, we might make the sleeves just one solid fade as opposed to having cuffs. And I don't know if we'll have the M on the end, but yeah, that's how it's going to look. I don't know if you knew this, but the logo here, the steps, these are like your personal steps on the podium, not like one person is better than the other and then the other, like first loser, second loser. It's like you are ascending your own ladder of your own podium. Not bad, hey? For the last year or so, I have been using primarily, pretty much only the Win Republic gear. And I still really like Win Republic gear, but what we're able to do with Base for the ambassador program is we're able to get wholesale pricing that allows us to do the ambassador program. So it's going to be something like, don't quote me on this exactly, like $127 for a tri-kit, a headband, and a water bottle. And the value of that tri-kit alone is like $300 if you were to buy it one-off from Base. There's an upgraded option in the ambassador program, and this is actually what most people are telling me that they would go for, is $197 for a tri-kit, a full cycling kit, a running singlet, the headband, and then 2 water bottles. And it's like a $630 value for $197. Critical aspects to a good tri-kit.
Well, first, it's got to have a zipper that actually opens up like a shirt so that you can, you know. And then it's also got to have textured shoulders. You want that little bit of texture on here to actually disturb the wind, and that's going to actually be more aerodynamics. And then just all the basic fit stuff. Like, I don't want sausage legs. I want this to be a long cuff if there is going to be a cuff, so that you don't get really tight sausage legs. Now, this isn't a sponsored deal with Base Performance at all, but their owner, CEO Matt Miller, who was a triathlete himself, he's recently become a dad, and he has kind of gotten in the worst shape of his life, and he's actually starting a YouTube channel about his journey where he's committing to getting back to health. And we're just kind of trading. Like, he's helping me out with sourcing these products at the price basically that he pays from his distributor. And then I'm gonna give him a little bit of feedback on his YouTube channel and help out with that. So this headband is what I think we're gonna use. It's from Bamboo Works. It's made with natural fibers, and how they came up with it was, for anyone who wears masks a really, really long time, you get, they call it maskne, like irritations. A lot of that's from the unnatural fibers. So they came up with this product, which is natural and a little bit better for you. And then we'll throw a logo on it somewhere around right there. I'm gonna put a link in the description below to a wait list for the ambassador program. It's got the prices, it's got kind of a rough outline of what you get on it and what questions you want answered. And then when we open up registration, everyone who's on that wait list will get first priority, and we'll answer the questions that you have there. Now we ride. Morning again, Trainiacs. This is, it's Friday. There's nothing special about that. Well, actually, that's a great day. So I, over the last year, have actually had some testing results. Shh. Actually, that means the coffee's done. I've had some testing oh. NTK's kettle is kettling, and she's in a house coat, I'm sure.
It's a robe.
Robe. Finally, my test results have shown that my metabolism, my mitochondrial function, like the energy producers in my muscles, have really, really slowed down. And as I like to do, I started going onto ncbi.com. It's like, it is Google for studies and science. A lot of people spend time like scrolling through Facebook. I spend time scrolling through NCBI. So I started looking at what could possibly, with even though you're eating, end up slowing down your metabolism. And like most things in nutrition, it can be lots and lots of things. But I started thinking about what I've done over the past couple of years, and it's been like intermittent fasting and waiting until I start working out to have my breakfast. Now, not doing any fasted workouts, but just waiting until right before a workout, which might be at 9, 10, or 11 a.m. before I actually have my breakfast. What I found was a couple of things. First, it's that, yes, there is evidence that intermittent fasting and having periods of restricting your calories throughout the day to a shorter window where you take your calories, not like just all throughout the day, but through a shorter window, yeah, that does help reduce weight and actually improve metabolism and hormones and like on and on. The evidence for intermittent fasting is not subtle. But what I found was that the way you intermittent fast has a big effect on what your body weight is and your BMI actually is. What I found was not just one, but several studies, and that's what I like to do, is like search for things generally and then just see what pops up, as opposed to like searching for does skipping breakfast reduce your weight, because you'll find evidence for just about everything if you search for it specifically. But searching for like breakfast and body mass or body weight and just seeing what pops up. And what came up over and over and over in multiple studies is people who skipped breakfast actually had higher body weight. But there were a couple of caveats to that. If you ate within 3 hours of bedtime, you also had a higher body weight. So instead of a lot of people fasting in the morning and then having their first meal at noon, what these studies are saying is do it the other way around. Fast more in the evening and then don't skip breakfast. But the composition of what you ate for breakfast made a difference too. If you took 2 people and one of them had a breakfast cereal, like a processed breakfast cereal that has been prepared and packaged and preserved, and then you took another person and they had the same macronutrients, so the same breakdown of protein, carbs, and fat, the same calories, but it was from natural foods, the person who had their breakfast from natural foods had a better body weight. The person that had their breakfast from preserved foods actually had the same body weight as somebody who had largely skipped breakfast, like more or less the same. So what I was doing, where I would wait and skip breakfast as long as I could, and then so that I could get something in me quick to get to the workout where I would have a bar, even though a lot of the bars that I have are natural, but the only thing being that bar, even though in my mind I'm eating right, I'm not eating optimally. And then these guys got some cherry tomatoes because they go crazy for it. Small tip, if your eggs stick to the frying pan, heat it up for a few minutes beforehand.
It's called preheating.
It's called preheating according to Bella Lugosi over there.
Bella Lugosi?
I don't know, it's according to Gordon Ramsay over there.
It's kind of common knowledge for cooking.
Yeah, who taught you that one?
Preheating?
I taught you about preheating a pan.
Did not.
It's on tape now. I said it. It's on the internet. It's true. So what I've been doing is after I take a little bit of supplements that I need to take on an empty stomach, as soon as that's done, as early as that's done, doesn't matter if I've got a workout coming later in the day or not, I have a very wholesome 4-egg and lots of vegetables omelet, because what has been shown is once you hit 5 servings of vegetables a day for the average person, I would say for people who are doing what we do, putting our body through a lot, that should be like 6 or 7 vegetables a day. This is an easy way to, boom, you get 1. Hashtag ad, I put athletic greens in water, boom, another 2. So yes, I was eating all the calories in the world and eating around workouts, but I was still creating a starvation response, which meant that my metabolism would just go down. So even though I'm freaking out, and a lot of you are probably freaking out, like there's nothing that I can do to actually lose weight. Well, it might not be, are you eating enough, or are you eating around your workouts, or are you doing fasting? It's maybe you're not doing it at the right times. People wake up and because their cortisol is high, they don't want to eat, but that's when you need to eat the most, because if you haven't eaten before 3 hours before going to bed and then you slept for 8 hours, that is 11 hours of being starved. You need to top yourself back up, whether it feels like you need it or not. Also, after a workout, when your cortisol is high and it doesn't feel like you need to eat, that's when you need to eat the most. So when people aren't eating in the morning or delaying when they eat after a workout, creates a starvation response, slowing down your metabolism. Everything in your body just starts holding on to fat. And then the super interesting thing is that eating later in the day, when you want to eat the most at the end of a workday or before bed, is actually creating a starvation response, because what happens is when you don't eat first in the morning or around your workout, you tend to overeat later in the day. So that drives your blood sugar high, crashes. The crash is seen by your body as another starvation response. So again, holds on to more. So the timing of what you're doing ends up mattering. And I'm thinking back to when I was my thinnest back in 2019. And there are a lot of things going on, and this is all just kind of speculation, but I was waking up in the morning, having a shake with nothing but natural ingredients,
And then, yeah, I was getting to my workout first thing in the morning, but sometimes I didn't. But I had a shake prepared the night before to get into immediately. So this is breakfast. Because I was filming, it took a long time, but I started doing this, and normally I'd have this done by 7 a.m. And then right before a workout, then I'll maybe have a bar to just get that little bit of energy. And if it's a hard workout, a carb bar. If it is a not hard workout, a no carb bar, because I'm cool with carbs. Just time them depending on what your workout is. Better than yesterday. Yesterday was pretty bland. Well, here on the weekend, we've got a bit of a exciting ride, but also a bit of a sad ride. It's the end of an era, man. End of an era. One of my best buddies and most frequent cycling partners is moving. Gone. Indefinitely. And that makes me sad. Also, how good is this look of big winter fat cycling boots and short capris? I look good, right? I gotta say, this is pretty nice. Hopefully that's not the last ride with him ever, but no, it can't be. Can't be. I gotta go visit him. He's going to Victoria, BC, the magical land where there's no snow that stays in the winter in Canada. I know. Didn't think that actually existed. One thing that I've learned over the past couple of years of trying to have perfect training and hit PBs is that really, really hard to do that with training with friends. You kind of got to go and do your thing and your ideal workout. What I found was 2018 did it, 2019 got through it again solo and had some PBs, but then last year, even without COVID, it caught up to me. And now I am fully willing to trade perfect training for very good training, or even good training, but training that's fun and motivating and surrounded by a community. I don't know if you saw the last vlog where I'm coming back to doing a vlog every single week, but what I've missed and what I find is so important with being fit and being healthy for a long time is having a community around. So this vlog, that ride, so much of those decisions that we make about what I train for, how I do it, what my training week looks like, it's all surrounded by the pretense of like, how can I involve a community of people around me? Because we need people as like family support and training support. And Rod over the past couple of years has been like a friend, a training partner, a bit of a psychologist, and wish you well, buddy. I'll miss you. Hope to see you soon. All right, let's wrap it up there. And we'll call it a day. If you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs.